I made a voting poll. I made a voting poll yesterday, I think. Yesterday, I ain't tripping, or the day before. But y'all want to answer solve. Y'all still gonna get Mr. Ball Sunday. I'm still gonna post today, bro. Y'all chill. I'm still gonna post today. But it might be, you know what I'm saying, afternoonish. You feel me? So let's go ahead and get down with Anna Solves. We ain't need Anna Solves in a minute either. We back on track. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do Mr. Ballin later on in the day. You feel me? Let's go ahead and get into it.
He pointed the gun at me. Then he said he was sorry, and then he shot himself.
The plan that I had formulated to make it look like my father had done all this was not plausible. It wasn't even realistic.
What if I told you that a couple had to go through the tragic set of incidents just because they took away their son's favorite game? Would you believe it if I told you that an innocent mother lost her life at the hands of her son over just a video game? Not believing me? Well, stay tuned as I tell you the story of Daniel Petrick, the teen who mixed up virtual simulation with reality and ended up taking the life of his mother. Daniel Petrick lived in Wellington, Ohio with his parents Mark and Susan Petrick. He had two elder sisters named Heidi and Holly. The family was like any other suburban family. Susan worked in healthcare and Mark was a Pentecostal minister. The Petrick children had received Christian values growing up and they reportedly had a very good relationship with their parents. Their neighbors never reported any tales of violence or misconduct and believed them to be a happy family of 5. In 2007, Daniel was 16 years old. He grew up as a normal teen. He had shared a healthy bond with his friends and family and also did well academically. His parents never had received a complaint about him from school. But soon tragedy hit the happy teenager. He got into an accident while skiing which caused a spinal injury, confining him to his house for more than a year. He wasn't allowed to go out due to health issues, and he found comfort in video games. Apart from playing the regular ones, Daniel began taking an interest in violent first-person shooting games. Back in 2007, these games were slowly taking over the market, and parents didn't have a strong stance against it as they didn't
Definitely didn't. I am not gonna lie to you, shit up here like I'm a hypocrite. Gang, But really, people don't understand that like video games is a children's, you know what I'm saying, good place. I pass it on to my brother, my little brother, Lord, to play games now, but it's a thing like you'd rather be like my mom bought it for me, like games and shit, all the games and shit that I wanted. My grandma and my mom, they bought all the games for me because it helped me stay out of trouble, literally, because I was a trouble kid, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get into some shit, like, wouldn't give a fuck, you feel me? But for me, you know what I'm saying, they bought the gas for me to stay out the streets. Really, it worked, you know what I'm saying? 7% of the time, 75% of the time. But you feel me? That's why they bought it for me. You feel me? Everybody have their purpose. You feel me? My first game was Vice City and Dragon Ball Z. 2000, had to be 2005, 2006, 2007, right around this time. It had to be Grand Theft Auto Vice City. I would have had San Andreas. Well, no, I ain't never had San Andreas. I'm tripping. I ain't get San Andreas till 2008-ish. You feel me? But I love Grand Theft Auto growing up.
Stand the outcome. The third game of the popular Halo series, Halo 3, was released in 2007. Just like other gamer teens, Daniel was also a fan of the franchise and played the other games in the series.
Not gonna lie.
His parents noticed his unusual gaming habits. Daniel would sometimes play for hours on end without moving from the couch or following his regular schedule.
He would just play for hours and hours and hours, 3 days straight, and only taking a bathroom break and eating a bowl of cereal, no sleep.
Banning the game also didn't work. Daniel would go to his friend's house and...
Nah, I love the game, but I don't love it that much. I play the game too much because my head be hurting. Like, I can't sit up there and play the game 2-3 days straight. Nah, I don't love the game that much. I don't love it that much. I ain't gonna lie. I don't love it that much.
Play the game there. When Halo 3 was released in September 2007, Daniel asked his father for a copy of the game. His father said no. Daniel began throwing tantrums, but nothing worked. Mark went ahead and forbade him from playing any violent video games going forward. He wanted to adhere to his Christian beliefs and didn't want to encourage violence in any form. He knew that the game would affect his son adversely.
I don't care what the game is. If all you're doing is pointing a gun at people and These games are not acceptable for children. We would not allow them for any reason whatsoever in our home.
Unable to control his tantrums, Mark gave Daniel an ultimatum. He asked him to either stay in the house or pick Halo free and leave. Daniel was an angsty teen at the moment, and he moved out of their house in anger and took shelter in a friend's place. It was reported that he and his friend used to play the video games for up to 18 hours a day during his stay. The friend's parents became very concerned, and they asked Daniel to go back to his home. He didn't have any other option but to comply. But he wasn't done with the game just yet. He snuck out of his bedroom window, went to the local game shop, and spent around $70 to buy Halo free. As he was sneaking back in, his mother Susan caught him. Daniel decided to be truthful.
His mom...
60. It had to be 60. Either 50 or 60, because I know games back then wasn't that goddamn high. I probably would be tripping, but they ain't start getting to like $70, like $70 for a game to now. Like $79, $69.99. It used to be, I mean, we'd be $59.99, shit, $50.99. I mean, $4.99. The games done went out, man. But when that 506 come out, they gonna spend on them $200.
Said, what are you doing? And then he showed her.
$200?
I snuck out and bought the video game.
Mark was angry at him, and he stayed firm on his decision. He took away the copy of the game and locked it inside the family safe.
Even though you spent some $70 on this game, you're not playing it and you're not getting it back.
The safe also had Mark's handgun.
Wait a
The
minute,
safe
man.
always
Hold on now. Hold on now. He bought the game with $70 that he had. It's his money. He bought it. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I would have had a problem with it, but I would have told him as long as I can't hear it. You feel me? Because, you feel me? He bought it with his money and his game. You know, he living in y'all house. He did buy it with his money.
remained locked, and Mark had the keys on him at all times. So he thought that Daniel couldn't access the game.
I know how to get him in a safe.
Adjust to this fact soon. October 20th, 2007 was a regular day for the Petrick family. It was a Saturday, and Heidi was scheduled to come visit them with her husband to spend some quality time. As Mark and Susan were sitting in the living room, Daniel went up to them and told them that he had a surprise for them. He asked them to close their eyes.
Hey, Mom, Dad, would you do me a favor and close your eyes? Because I got something to show you. I have a big surprise for you. And I thought, I looked over at Sue. It's okay, and we both closed our eyes.
This might have been their biggest mistake. Mark heard a metallic click before the world turned dark for him. Daniel had attempted to find the copy of the game, and when he did, he also found the gun there. Out of rage and resentment, he picked it up and decided to do the unthinkable. He fired at his father once and fired 4 rounds at his mother. Despite being shot in the head, Mark survived the attack, but Susan had succumbed to her injuries and passed away.
The next thing I remember, I'm waking up. My head is completely numb, ringing, buzzing. I'm totally confused. I have no clue what just happened.
He also vaguely remembered Daniel shoving the gun into his hands.
Petrick said his son shoved the gun into his hand saying, "Hey Dad, here's your gun, take it."
As scheduled, Heidi arrived at their home with her husband right at that moment. Daniel opened the door and asked them not to enter because their parents had just been in an argument. "You guys shouldn't come in," Mark Petrick recalled his son saying. "Mom and Dad had a big argument." Heidi sensed that something was not right. She could also hear moaning coming from the house. She forcefully entered the house and saw her parents injured. Her husband had tackled Daniel and taken the gun from him. Daniel took the opportunity and fled from the house. Shockingly, he still had the copy of his game with him. Heidi immediately called the police.
What's going on?
I don't know what happened. I just came over to my parents' house because we were going to watch the game, and my mom and my dad and my brother's here.
Does anybody know what happened?
Investigators found Susan with 1 bullet in her chest, 2 in her arms, and 1 in her head. She had passed away immediately. Mark was sent to the hospital and had a shattered jaw. He slipped into a coma and battled for his life.
I had just been shot in the head.
By your own son.
And I did not know she was already dead.
During interrogation, Daniel stuck to his claims. He described in detail how the incident had unfolded and what role his father played in it.
I was sitting in my room, and then my dad was just yelling, just screaming at my mom. My dad walked in his bedroom, and then walked back out, and then I heard a gunshot. I ran out there to my mom, and then shot her.
He then described how his father had aimed the gun at him once before he fired at himself. Mark spent 2 weeks in the coma, but then slowly began to recover. He had missed his wife's funeral too. He had to face the reality that his own son had taken his wife's life, and that too over something as trivial as a video game.
And I'm laying there in bed. Just, why did he do this? What, over a video game?
Mark had to stay in the hospital for a month and had to go through 5 surgeries to fix the shattered jaw. Daniel's bullet had missed his brain by a fraction of a centimeter, and he survived narrowly. He had his eye sockets, the roof of his mouth, and jaw reconstructed. He had difficulty speaking and sitting upright, and also suffered from severe PTSD. As news about the case spread out, Daniel's criminal acts caused an uproar in the public, and they demanded immediate justice.
There were headlines about it, and there was a big desire to see him punished. There were even calls for the death penalty.
Daniel's trial remained controversial to this day. The judge looked at the evidence and statements of the accused and the witness. The prosecutor claimed that Daniel hadn't shown much remorse for his actions. However, the trial was very emotional, and Daniel's face had reddened multiple times during the proceedings. He even shed tears when his father read his letter, or when pictures of his mother's autopsy were shown on the screen.
Daniel Patrick had no idea at the time he hatched this plot.
After sufficient investigation and examination of the video game, the jury concluded that Daniel had possibly mixed up reality and the world of the video game. They said that Daniel might not have understood that he was taking the life of his mother in the real world and not in the video game. However, Daniel's lawyer argued that Mark and Susan had given Daniel the gaming counsel, so they couldn't avoid the responsibility for his actions. He also argued that Daniel had never shown any signs of violence before this incident and had chosen gaming as his only form of entertainment due to his injuries. When his parents took it away from him, he became angry. But the prosecutors argued that Daniel knew what he was doing and wasn't confused between game and reality. In fact, they suspected that it was a well-thought-out plan that he executed when he got the chance. On top of that, he tried to frame his father for the crime. A boy who was naive enough to mix up reality with simulation would never try to frame another person so tactfully.
The prosecutor said he thought out an action, he thought out a plan. He enacted that action and that plan.
Later, the judge acknowledged that
Our prayers up to my tribal chief. If you watched SummerSlam last night, you know.
these video games create a strong addiction in the players. It's not unnatural for them to experience a high after playing and a low or a withdrawal when they're kept away from it for too long.
The dopamine surge, the stimulation of the nucleus accumbens, the same as an addiction. Such that when you stop, your brain won't stand for it. When these changes occur, they occur in an environment that is delusional.
Daniel Patrick received a life sentence with possible parole after 23 years. Daniel's attorney had pleaded for leniency based on his mental health conditions, but the jury was firm on the sentence. Mark had lost his beloved wife and initially held a grudge against his son, but he was also a strong believer in the divine, and he decided to forgive him. When I found out my wife had died, I was so angry I wanted to kill him. I told God I hate that kid. I never want to see him again. I started crying, and the Lord said, "I'll enable you to forgive your son," he told a reporter. When he saw his son in the courtroom, he had a chance to face his emotions, and he wanted his son to have the opportunity to reflect and learn from his mistakes.
But in the courtroom, I was feeling a lot of love.
That was my
I
son.
wanted forgiveness, and I wanted to see him have a second chance at life.
In a heart-wrenching speech, Mark acknowledged before the court that he understood that his son was genuinely feeling guilty over his actions.
I can't count the number of
You killed my wife, bitch. We made you.
sorry for forgetting, I'll never be able to forgive himself.
Mark was allowed to visit Daniel in prison, and he apologized to him whenever he could. "Dad, I'm sorry for what I did to Mom, to you, and to the family," Daniel said, according to his father. "I'm so glad you are alive." But of course, the incident will haunt both Daniel and Mark for the rest of their lives. A poor decision taken in the heat of the moment turned out to be the biggest
About a
mistake
fucking
of Daniel's
game,
life. One that left a mark on
a
him
game
forever.
that's
He will
even-
never get his mother back. But we can only hope that this loss turns him into a better person. A person who learns to give more than he takes.
I mean, it's just the little things, you know, that we don't fully understand.
I don't want to hear your bitch ass. That man took a motherfucker, a life, his mom's life, and damn near his dad's just because of Halo, cuz. Imagine Halo, and then Halo ain't even popping like that for real. It's more Call of Duty shit, you feel me? Imagine. Like, bruh. Please watch y'all kids for these games too. Don't let them get too obsessed with them. I can see that they are from a standpoint, you feel me? But games for me, I also teach like violent games like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas and Vice City. I used to play so much games as a kid. Warriors, Scarface, Def Jams, all, you know what I'm saying? Like all them games teach you something in 50 Cent games. Bulletproof. Yeah, nigga. I used to play all the classics, nigga. All the classics, nigga. True crimes, nigga. I played all the classics, nigga, as a kid, nigga. I had them all. But don't let like couple games, of course the Grand Theft Auto games, they teach you a life lesson. That you probably just think it's just a mission like as a kid, but as I go older, you know what I'm saying, play some of the old games I used to play like Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, you feel me? Doing that whole time, like when Big Smoke and Ryder betrayed it, you know, CJ and them, that's some shit to look out for, you feel me? Like, that's why I say, I like when it comes to like kids watching shit like crime shows and shit like that, I want my kid to watch a crime show so they can see how and what to do in that predicament, or how you know somebody being fake to you or not. You feel me? In them type of predicaments, that's why I rock with that solution. You feel me? But that being said, see you when I see y'all in the next video. Let's ride. Mr. Baller Sunday, we still gonna do that. You feel me? Y'all might get it later on tonight. Y'all gonna get it by, I say 4, 5, 6, or 7. But it's gonna be up. That being said, see you when I see you. Let's ride, man.